franchise with mostly bad moments. Like, what are we talking about? I don't know what you're laughing about. Find me a worse moment. I dare you. When Vinny Testaverde tore his Achilles with Parcells when they were coming off a good playoff run, that's, I guess, close. But this team hadn't had a real quarterback since Joe Namath. And Trevor Lawrence is as can't miss gets. And you had it all there for the taking, or for the tanking, and you blew it.
Hey, that's good.
And now at this point, I don't even know that you draft any quarterback. I think with the second overall pick, you might end up trading it for a bunch of other picks and running it back one more year with Sam Darnold. This is the vintage first prize Cadillac, second prize steak knives, third prize you're fired. Like, except Greg Williams already got fired, which probably screwed you out of Trevor Lawrence. Greg Williams sitting at home, I imagine, on some Barca lounger saying, see, bet you wish you hadn't fired me now. Hope you enjoy the left tackle out of Idaho you're going to get. Like, what are you doing? It's an unequivocal, unmitigated disaster for the Jets, Brian. And I feel so terribly for Jets fans, except for the fact that they grew up in a city with two teams and they didn't have to be Jets fans. So they opted into this. So some of this is on them. But this is as bad as it gets, man. As bad as it gets.
Yeah, you know what, Nick? You're absolutely right. I live in Jets country. I'm around a bunch of Jets fans here. And all I heard was moaning and yelling all afternoon in agony because of this. This was a terrible situation. They had one job to do. That was to lose, something that they were really, really good at, and they really couldn't complete that job. And here's the thing. When you think about it from a player's perspective, absolutely. You want to go out there and win every single game. Do you think Sam Darnold wants to give up his starting position in the NFL and be shipped to a different team? Absolutely not. Do you think Frank Gore wants to go out there and be 0-16 in one of his last years playing football? Absolutely not. So as a player, you're always going to go out there and try to win. But as a fan, changing the culture with a brand new quarterback and a brand new coach, it's totally different. Think of the Bills. What happened when they got Josh Allen and Sean McDermott? Different team 4 or 5 years later. Think of the Cardinals a couple years later. Cliff Kingsbury as well as Kyler Murray, a total different franchise. Getting a quarterback and a brand new coach changes the culture, changes the character of your franchise. The Jets just lost that opportunity. A terrible loss. Here's the thing. There are times where you can win and still lose. Kevin, you understand this. When you can get an all-expense paid to the worst island ever, to a place that you'll never, ever come back to, a disaster zone, that's exactly what the Jets just did. They won, but they actually lost.
All right. I disagree wholeheartedly. And I'm a pretty rational person. Like, if I'm on a sidewalk and I got to walk under a ladder, I'll walk under a ladder. If I break a mirror, I don't know why that would ever happen. But if I break a mirror, I'm not like, oh, there goes 7 years. I do, however, believe in good football karma. So the Jets fans, stop whining, stop moaning. Oh, boo-hoo, we won a game. You can't be whining about losing games and winning games. You got to pick one. Win the game, believe in good football karma. And here's why. Lay it out for you. One, you should have beaten the Patriots. You're a field goal away from beating the Patriots, and you should have beaten the Raiders. So this is kind of like your third shot at it. So it's not like you were so terrible you deserved to go in 0-16. So this was coming. This wasn't like out of the blue. Number two, in the Raiders game, remember the old fake Hail Mary who got burned, Lamar Jackson? Did he deserve that? Rookie cornerback? He's like, I knew it was a bad play call, but, I can't really, call out Greg Williams. He recovered the block punt. So congratulations, Lamar Jackson. How about Frank Gore? You're not rooting for Frank Gore? He's like, I don't want to go out 0-16. He has one catch. It seals the game. Here's the other thing. Tanking is for the birds. It's for the birds. Peter King wrote a great article that in 1988, Dallas and Green Bay were both 2-12, and Troy Aikman was the big prize out there. Green Bay wins. Dallas goes 1-1, I think. The Cowboys obviously get Troy, and Packers get Tony Mandrich. Not a great pick. Very, very muscular guy, though, in Sports Illustrated. Not a great pick. However, a few years later, I don't know, let's trade for that guy from the Falcons, Brett Favre. That worked out. You know why? Because you won game. Good football karma. What about more recently, Nick?
That worked out.
Oh, tank for Tua. Tank for Tua. The Dolphins are tank for Tua. Brian Flores like, I'm a Patriot. Oh, I'm not tanking for Tua. I'm going to win games. They're like, oh, my God, what are the Dolphins doing? Surprise, surprise. You got Tua, and now you're going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Winning is
but
good for you.
What?
It's good football karma.
Oh, my God. Your last 2 points are insane. You're like, hey, good for the Packers. They didn't get the guy. They didn't get the guy who won 3 Super Bowls. They're delighted.
Well, they
got as lucky as you possibly can get with Favre because he washed out in Atlanta. That's not a duplicable process. Second of all, with the Dolphins, they got the guy they were hoping to tank for anyway. Trevor Lawrence is not going to be there at 2, buddy. Trevor Lawrence is gone. This is not only a disaster, by the way, for the Jets. Go ahead, Wilds. Yeah, go.
I'm done with Trevor Lawrence, a generational talent. How long is a generation nowadays? I got Arch Manning is like 3 years younger than him, and Patrick Mahomes like 4 years. Like these generations are like ant lives. They're like, a generational quarterback.
I agree.
Generational quarterback.
They understand what
once in a generation.
What?
I understand what generational talent is. Look what Lamar Jackson is doing in Baltimore. He's a once-in-a-generation player, and he's doing it in a fashion where he's running the football, and it's hard to do. And then who knows if he lasts for another 10 years at the starting quarterback position. But if you can get a guy that can run and throw the ball like Trevor Lawrence, that changes the portion of your entire franchise. It changes the way you call plays. It obviously is going to help your defense. These things are hard to come by, the #1 draft picks like that. And when you're losing the way that the Jets have been, you got to keep that going so you can get the best player.
I agree with you, Wilds. We throw the term generation around too often, but that's beside the point. He is the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck, bar none, hands down, unequivocally. Yes, you can try to hit lightning in the bottle with Patrick Mahomes. You can. I get it. But you also can be in a spot where you end up taking the second best quarterback in a draft. And you know what that turns into very often? Sam Darnold, who the Jets already have. And listen, I don't even really, it's not so much I feel bad for the Jets. I feel bad for Trevor Lawrence. This is bad for him. This idea that he'd rather be in Jacksonville than with the Jets. Who the hell wants to go to Jacksonville? This is bad for the NFL. The NFL doesn't want him in Jacksonville. The Jets had one job, and it's a job they have spent 40 years of perfecting. Lose. And they couldn't do it when they needed to most. I feel so terribly for everyone involved in this scenario, Jenna.
Just winning at every single different corner.
And the Rams.
Speaking of teams, speaking of teams mired in disarray, the Browns know the feeling very well, but even they found their way out. Here's Baker with his eyes on the perennial prize.
Whatever team he's playing for in the game, and so we just have to, stay in there and realize that as long as we don't go chasing waterfalls, we're going to be in the game.